nothing told me like what if, because again, I grew up with so much love and security. I never thought somebody could just like completely lie about who they are, and or treat you the way he did. Eventually he had like threatened to kill me and kill himself if I ever tried to leave him, and he would record himself saying that. I don't know why he recorded it. And I feel like if when you're at a point at the darkest, lowest low of your life, if you can just keep one glimmer of hope, that's enough to pull you through.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Purpose Over Pleasure podcast with your host, Alex Payne. And today we have the pleasure of having Dr. Minnie with us. Dr. Minnie, thank you. Thank you for
Of course.
making it out here to beautiful Orange County from beautiful San Diego.
Yeah.
Although I don't know. Lately I've been visiting San Diego and it raises questions about its beauty. It changed over the years.
But certain areas. But
thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank
you for having me.
Yeah. Remember that mic? You gotta have it a little closer to
Okay.
you. Yeah, you're soft spoken, so
Okay.
yeah. I probably should just change mics into the ones that capture sound all the way around.
Yeah.
Yeah, that way people
Okay.
can be
I'll just
more
like-
relaxed.
Sure.
I
I think it's good like this.
Fantastic.
Okay.
Yeah. Unless you start yelling at me, then
I'll
we're good.
I'll speak up a little bit too.
Yeah, it's all good. Yeah, I'll usually adjust the voice, but
Okay.
yeah, just for the purposes of, I've seen your biography.
Mhm.
I've spoken with you. I think you have a really cool story that we're gonna talk about in a second. But let's jump into your upbringing because I think it matters.
Sure.
And you come from a very strong culture.
Yeah.
I am pretty familiar with your culture, and I really like your culture, the
Mhm.
food.
Yeah.
I think the history of your culture goes
Yeah.
way back, and
Sure.
it's just beautiful, and I'm
Yeah.
always fascinated by that. So
Yeah.
let's talk about where you are and where you come from.
Absolutely. Thank you. And I agree. I think, how you grow up, it creates the foundation of how you think and how you live throughout your life. So I was born in Northern California in Daly City. It's in the south,
Mhm.
South San Francisco area. And to in a Punjabi Sikh family. My parents are immigrants. My dad immigrated from Punjab in 1973, and my mom was actually
Ooh.
born in Fiji.
Oh, wow.
Her dad was in the British military police, and that time Fiji was a British colony. So
Mhm.
when he
Mhm.
first got married, he went to Fiji with his brothers, and then that's where he had his kids, my mom and her 4 siblings.
Wow.
And then she came to the United States just a couple years before my dad, and they had an arranged marriage, and that was 53 years ago. They just celebrated 53 years. I'm so proud to say that.
How's their marriage?
How's their marriage?
Yeah.
They bicker sometimes. They're older, but they love each other, and they're
Okay.
each other's best friend at the
But
end
for the
of the
most
day.
part, you would say that arranged marriage worked out.
That arranged marriage absolutely worked
Great.
out, yeah. And
Yeah.
all of my uncles, aunts, it's the norm in our family
Yeah.
to have arranged marriages. At least it was for a
Yeah.
long time, for generations. So I grew up with that, with a lot of love and family. So my dad is one of 9 siblings, and like I said, mom is
Wow.
one of 5. And all my aunts and uncles lived in the Bay Area, and they're all married, and they all have kids. So I have like 50 first cousins.
Wow.
So on the weekends, especially when my grandparents were alive, we'd all like get together, and it was like a party every
Yeah.
time. So just like a lot of social love, circle, and,
Yeah.
and feeling that, like, I would say secure attachment, because I always felt safe, always felt taken care of. Because my dad is 7 out of 9, and my mom's the youngest out of her 5. Most of my cousins are older than me, so I
Yeah.
felt like I always had like older brothers and sisters. Even aunts and uncles in our culture, they're like parents. They're like
Yeah.
extended parents. So so I grew up in the Bay Area in a town called Vallejo. We moved there when I
Wow.
was 2.
That-
Do you know
that's
Vallejo?
a famous town. For those of you who don't know, I recommend you
The
Google
V.
it. Yeah.
707.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it's,
so I
it's
was
got its
there.
own history.
Yeah, that's where I went to school my entire
Uh-huh.
life, because until through a junior high school, pretty diverse, but not a lot of Indian people.
Mhm.
So me and my middle brother were a year apart, so we were always like one of the few Indian kids at school. But my best friends were Filipino, Tongan, Samoan, white,
Oh wow,
black, mixed. They were very mixed.
wow.
A lot of diversity,
Well,
which I feel very fortunate that I had that
how is it that
exposure.
that city was so diverse?
I know, like, well, it has the Naval Academy was there,
Oh,
the
okay, okay,
Mare Island. So I know
yeah,
that's how a lot of Filipinos were there. But
okay,
I don't know exactly about like the other Pacific Islanders. I know a lot of them were in Oakland too, and then they moved towards
yeah,
Vallejo
yeah, yeah.
after.
I don't blame
Um,
him.
yeah,
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 Oakland is not exactly, you know,
yeah, yeah. So
yeah,
I grew up there, went to high school. Pretty, again, a lot of love and a lot of family, but my parents were really strict. As far as like friends, you can only keep your friends at school. Like I wasn't allowed to bring friends over after school unless we're working on a project for
yeah.
school. I wasn't allowed to like go to the mall with my friends or the movies. Your cousins are your friends and your siblings are your friends. But yeah, I was it was like a norm for us
Yeah,
in many ways. So I didn't really push back until I got to be a teenager. That's when
yeah,
I started pushing back a little bit more,
yeah.
questioning things like why. And also there was some double standards. Like my brothers would be able to do things
Oh
and I
yeah,
would, but they wouldn't want to go anywhere. I was like, they just want to sit at home and watch TV. And I used to like be like, why can't I, just go to the movies with my friends and go do things? And
yeah,
they were just very protective, I think,
yeah.
because, Vallejo's not where we went to school, like where they lived, it was a newer development. So our neighborhood was pretty new and safe, but where we had to go to school was like inner city.
Mhm.
So they were trying to like protect us from
Mm.
getting, I don't know, whatever they were worried about at that
I mean,
time.
just
Yeah.
knowing the history of that city,
Yeah.
I don't blame them why they
Yeah.
were protective of you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it would
And you
upset
grew up
me
in what decade? 80s, 90s?
in the 80s and 90s. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it's after the whole Leo fiasco, all that,
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. So it was pretty safe. I didn't like ever feel
Okay.
unsafe, at least where we
Good.
were growing up. It was, but yeah, pretty strict in that way. We weren't allowed to date. Um,
Period. Until it's arranged, right?
yeah. So that was the expectation because again, like my parents had an arranged
Yeah.
marriage. My cousins were getting arranged marriages. So there
Wow.
was like this unspoken rule that that's what's going to happen to me. We never said you're going to have an arranged marriage. It's not like it was arranged since I was a kid or anything like that. It was just expected that my parents would help set that up.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I guess if you don't know any better, you accept it as your reality.
Yeah.
I can't think of like doing that to my daughter, for example.
Yeah.
That's almost like barbaric.
Well, it
And
was,
not to say that
yeah.
doesn't work. Like clearly, you
Yeah.
work with your parent
Yeah.
for your parents.
Yeah, because in many ways it does work because you get to know the family, right?
Yeah.
It's not a marriage just between a husband and a wife. It's a union between families. And so back in
Yeah.
the day, it was like for survival, so they
Yeah.
had to do
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
But just like the customs just continued, and I was very close to my traditions and culture. I
Yeah.
loved being Indian. Like even my room growing up, it looked like a Punjabi museum.
Punjabi museum. Yeah.
Yeah, with like all these artifacts and things.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. Interesting fact about me: I actually grew up watching Indian movies.
No way.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
because I was born in Uzbekistan, so I grew up there and
Oh,
over
okay.
there, and in
Yeah.
Russia in general, like Bollywood was the shit.
Yeah.
So I grew up
Yeah.
watching like
Yeah.
what's that? Midhun Chakraborty, Salman Khan, like
Oh,
all of those
yeah.
guys. Yeah,
Yeah.
like
Disco dancer.
disco. Yeah, yeah, that's all. Yeah,
That's so funny. I can't
disco
believe you know what
dancer.
that
Yeah, but like
is.
in like Russian translation,
Mhm.
obviously.
Yeah.
And dude, just watching that, every 5-10 minutes there's like a dancing and singing
Yeah.
scene. It's
They're all
like
like musicals.
all choreographed. It's like just
Yeah. It's a whole industry.
that
Like
hasn't changed. Yeah.
It's
Yeah,
awesome.
insane fighting scenes, right?
Yeah.
Although Bollywood, like I watch it now, I was like Jesus, like it went even crazier
Yeah.
now.
They
Like
leveled up with the technology.
I was like Indians take it to a whole new level
Yeah.
with their sci-fi effects. I
Yeah.
was like Jesus Christ, that's defining physics right there,
I know. Yeah.
So it's just it's funny. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's awesome. That's awesome. So arranged marriage, like, so how did that? So you accepted that as your reality, right?
Yeah, I
And
just I just thought that's what's going to happen to
Yeah.
me. So I went to college. I did date somebody while I was my first year of college.
Where'd you go to college at?
First I did community college at DVC, Diablo Valley College. Then I went to San Francisco State
Mm.
because I didn't know what I wanted to major in at first. I went to community college. And then once I got to San Francisco State, I fell in love with psychology. Had some really good professors, and really that's what helped me go all in, was when I really started understanding, human behavior. I was always interested in talking to people from different lands, different areas, multicultural, backgrounds, and it gave me a window to that, like a window to other people's worlds, when I was able to try to understand and hear their stories. I was always fascinated, like, where did you come from? How do you think? What are their dress, their clothes, the food. I've always been fascinated with that. So it gave me like an opportunity to practice those things. And I was always a good listener because I was so shy. So I wouldn't talk. I would barely talk because I was like, again, especially when we're so, like, I was talk in front of my family because I feel more comfortable, but because we weren't really exposed to like outsiders that much, I was just so shy, so I didn't really talk that much. But I was a good listener naturally, so it just came easy to me. So that's when I decided to kind of go all in with psychology. But I finished my undergrad, and then once I finished college, I actually applied to the Peace Corps, and I got in. And at the same time, there was my mom's cousin's friend. Okay, they lived in Sacramento, this family, and this uncle. He was like, I have a nephew in India, and I really want Minnie to meet him. So he saw me at one of the events, and then he just kept calling all the time. He was like, I really want to, invite your family over, and I want you guys to meet my nephew in India. And the nephew lived in India. So my parents were like, okay, we'll see. They weren't like all in. And I was like, okay, like, I'm open to it too. Like, maybe I'll just get married. It's like probably like the next step after a degree, I guess. And so, that uncle was very persistent. He kept calling. And then finally, like, we went to his house with his family there and everything. And
In India?
this was first in Sacramento. And so there was like a lot of pressure from him immediately about, like, you have to meet this, my nephew. Again, even when we got to their house, it was kind of weird. Like, we went there like for dinner, like just to kind of meet the uncle and the family. And they had like all these like cameras out, and they're like taking pictures as if we're there to get engaged. And then they brought me like this outfit to wear with like gold, like a whole set and everything. They're like, can you put this on? And I was like, when my mom's like, well, she didn't even meet the guy yet. We didn't say yes. And they're like, well, we just want to show that we're really interested in Minnie. And I felt really uncomfortable. I was like, I don't want to. And then my sister was like, well, that's just maybe their way of showing that they're interested in you. Just do it. And so because my sister said it, and she's a little bit older than me, I just said, okay, fine. Still feeling pretty uncomfortable. And then again, like, we hadn't met him yet, but they had like pictures of him all over the house. Yeah, it was it was kind of strange, right? But
Weird,
I
yeah.
didn't I was just like not sure what was happening.
How old are you?
I was 23, 24.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, but I was like 13, 14 in my head again. I was like a kid. Like, I didn't know anything. And so I was just going with whatever the family wants,
Yeah.
whatever everybody else is doing. I didn't say anything. Continued to, call our house, and it's like, we have to go to India now. So me, my dad, my sister went to India, and we were planning to be there only like 10 days. And so the second day, we got there, we met the nephew, and the uncle had already been there with him. And so they take us to like this big restaurant, and it's super loud. And then they're like, you guys can go sit at the next table and talk. And again,
You and the nephew?
me and that guy, the nephew, right? We went to the next table, and again, I was like so shy. I was like, what am I supposed to say? So I asked him, like, what did you study in school? And he said he was an architect. And I asked him, what do you want to do if you come to the States? And he was like, I just need 6 months, and I know I can make it. I know I want to start a business. And he was like talking, but then that's all I asked. And then we just like walked around and everything. And then the uncle comes around, he puts his arm around me. He's like, so Minnie, what do you think? And I was like, I don't know. I need more time. You know, there's like something in my body, my nervous system was saying, something's off here. I just couldn't, I didn't have a name for it. I didn't have any evidence that something was off, but something in my body was saying intuitively that something is wrong here. Uncle was like, he's going to treat you like a queen. I'll make sure of it. Because uncle was pretty well off. He lived in Sacramento, and he said, we're going to make sure you're okay. And he's going to treat you like a queen. Like those are his exact words. I remember it. And he said that, just do it. And we'll make sure everything's going to be okay. So I just said yes. I said, okay. Like, it was almost like, okay. Like I felt like pressured into it, but I wasn't forced, if that makes sense. Like no one said you have to say yes, but it was just a lot. Like we went all the way there to meet this guy. I just felt like a lot of pressure and obligated almost to say yes at that point. And so I did. And within 2 days after that, they did a whole ceremony, like an engagement. India, everything happens really fast there.
Wow.
Have you been to India?
No.
Yeah, it's
I don't know, man.
yeah, you can get anything on demand, right? So
If you
like
have the money.
2 days later, they were like bringing all these like flowers early in the morning. I remember like all these guys are bringing like flowers and sweets, and they're decorating the house. And that's when it like hit me what was happening. And I just like started shaking and crying. And then my dad was there, and he was like, are you okay? What's going on? And I said, I don't know. I'm just like really nervous. And he thought I was just nerves. But he didn't ask me like, do you still want to do this? No one ever asked me that, like directly. Do you still want to do this? I remember I sat in another room with my sister, and I told her, I just wish he was more well-rounded, because I knew he was like very, he was like from the village there. And I was born and raised in Northern California, so I was like, I know it's going to be very different. So I don't know what that's going to be like. But again, I love my culture, and I thought, okay, he speaks Punjabi, he can teach our kids, and we can go back and forth. I loved going to India. I thought we could live like half what time there, that's how I was rationalizing it. But again, I didn't listen to myself in that moment, but I didn't know what to say either. So we got engaged, and then I came back home, and within 6 months, he came pretty quickly on a fiancé visa. And with a fiancé visa,
What year was that?
That was in 2005.
Mm.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So
Yeah.
that's the year I came to this country.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that was 2005. And so, so he came within 6 months pretty quickly. And then you have to get married within 90 days on a fiancé visa. So I remember I did say, can we wait until the 89th day? That was like the first time I said anything. And then the uncle again comes in, and he's like, well, the sooner you get married, it's better, because he can get a social security card and start working and saving for you guys. And just talking about like logistically, it makes more sense to just go ahead and get married.
Yeah.
So then I said, okay, we can do like the court marriage.
It's always
I
that
guess.
uncle, dude. It's
Yeah.
very persuasive.
Yeah, and manipulative.
Yeah.
Actually, very like deceitful.
Yeah.
We found out later. But so we had the court marriage, pretty, within that 90-day window or whatever. And then it was maybe 5 or 6 months later that we had the big Indian wedding.
Yeah.
And that was in San Francisco.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How big was the wedding?
We had 750 guests.
Wow.
We had
Yeah,
500 invitations, and we gave them all out. And like people travel from all over the world.
Yeah.
We have family everywhere.
Yeah, you guys party.
Yeah. It was like a super fun wedding. It
Okay,
was like a
good.
family reunion.
Good.
Yeah.
I'm glad at least the wedding was fun.
Even like for our family, like
Yeah.
that's one thing I don't regret is like that time. Because, Indian weddings are weeks long.
Yeah.
So we got
Yeah.
so much time together, and they're so long because there's so many ceremonies. Every person in the family has some type of, there's some ceremony that's involved with them, whether it's like mom's brother or, dad's sister. Like they all have to do something. That's why there's all these little things. So everybody's involved in the wedding. It's not just, again, the bride and groom. It's a family getting married.
Yeah.
So it was super fun in that way. It was like my dream wedding, things I've always dreamed about. But I never, like, even when I was a little girl, you imagine your wedding, but the groom's face was always like a blur. I never thought too much about like who he is or who he needs to be. I was just kind of, you just dream the wedding, when you're younger. You don't,
Yeah.
I didn't think what if like that. And even though I was feeling off about the situation, nothing told me like what if. Because again, I grew up with so much love and security. I never thought somebody could just like completely lie about who they are and or treat you the way he did eventually. And because it was dysregulating. So we got married. We were living in Fairfield. Do you know where Fairfield
No.
is? It's in Solano County too.
Up
So we were
north?
living close to on Travis Air Force Base was there.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of the apartment we were living in, a lot of the people that lived there were in the military. So all of my neighbors, I didn't know them, but I knew that a lot of them were in the military because it was so close to the base. So we were living together in the apartment, and he started getting like really controlling about my time. Didn't want my friends over. Like at first I was inviting them, like I wanted them to meet my husband, and he would just like freeze up and not talk and act super awkward.
Did he speak English?
He spoke a little bit of English.
Yeah.
I thought his English would be better because he lied. He went to school. Because in India, English is one of the national languages. So
yeah,
if you're in universities, they always teach in
Yeah.
English, right? So I just assumed he knew it, but out of respect, I was speaking in Punjabi to
Yeah.
him, so I never tested it.
So like you guys got married and right away you moved in together, like
Yeah.
now you're husband and wife, like
Yeah.
full on. That's how
Yeah,
the
complete
arranged marriage.
stranger, right? Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So that
So
was
like, forgive me for asking again. I don't know anybody who's been arranged marriage.
yeah.
So once you have the arranged marriage, well, the marriage is wedding. Sorry, you have a wedding. You move in together, and then is there like rules and guidelines you guys go by? Is there like a grace period to get to know each other, or it's like
It's up to the couple.
okay,
Yeah.
all right?
Yeah.
Because to me, it's always like that's the part that kind of trips me out. I was
Yeah.
like, okay, you guys met, you guys had a wedding, and now it's like man gets to claim his rights to his woman. You know, it's
Mhm.
kind of like to me, it's kind of like
Yeah.
interesting.
Yeah.
I don't want to say barbaric because that's not the
Yeah.
word.
Yeah.
But if, for example, now I have a daughter, I think about it, I was like, there's no way.
Mhm.
There's no way.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, I just want to clarify that because it's
yeah, so it's
getting
up
to know
to
your
the
culture.
couple, yeah, what they choose to do. Some people, they wait until they get more intimate,
Mhm.
and some people don't.
Okay.
I wanted to wait, but he was very like aggressive.
Mm.
So again, very controlling behavior, jealous. Like my phone, he would check the bill and like sit me down and look at every single phone number, and he would ask me whose number is this, and you don't know, right?
Whoa.
Like sometimes you get phone numbers like that you don't know who it is, and he would like check on me. He would started following me to work. I was working at Kaiser in Richmond that time, and he was just like follow me. Like I gave him my car and I got another one. He was like following me in my own car, and that's when I was like, but I kept like trying to, accommodate. I didn't tell my parents because I didn't
Yeah.
want them to worry. I was just like, what, maybe he's just like insecure.
And
He's
how
new.
old was this guy at the
He
time?
was the same age as me. He was like a year older.
24?
So he was like 20. Well, he was like 26. So
26.
I was like 25 by the
Mhm.
time I got married.
Okay.
Yeah.
And he hasn't been married before. It's just
No.
just him. Okay.
No.
Okay, interesting. Wow. Where did that come from? What's with the insecurities and jealousy?
I don't know. Like I think he's just maybe he felt like there was just a lot given so soon. I don't know what happened, but it was yeah, he's just a lot of like, and I told him I wasn't forced to get married. I chose to do this. So it's like, because he was asking me, like, have you dated before? And I did tell him I dated one person when I was in college. And he that's when he got really upset. He was like, what do you mean you dated somebody in college? And you should have told me this before. And I was like, well, isn't that normal? Like to, at least date a little bit. And he got really upset about that. And then that's when he did start changing his behavior towards me after that.
Wow.
Yeah.
How long did you guys live together for? Well, how long did that marriage last, like
Yeah.
overall? Like,
So
so
I
this
mean,
whole
he
thing
got
started.
so again, it was started off with like emotional abuse. He was putting me down all the time, telling me how stupid I am, like just shaming me about things and just trying to like just put me down, make me feel small all the time. And and then eventually it turned into physical abuse. And that's when the neighbors started knocking on the door and I would just like go to the room. I didn't like ever see anybody's face. And he would tell them whatever and they would go away. And then one day we were outside there was like a carport where our car was parked, and he was arguing with me about something. I don't argue with anybody. Like even in my family, like if we're upset, we just like give each other space. We're not loud. We don't fight like that. And so that was also something that was like kind of
Mm,
shocking to
mm-hmm,
me, that
mm-hmm.
somebody's yelling at me like this, and it was just make me feel overwhelmed. So one day we were like down at the carport. We were arguing about something, and he hit me. He punched me in my face, and I fell and I lost consciousness because I don't remember that then. But the neighbors saw. I learned later there were two men that saw, and I guess they were started coming down towards him, and ran towards the front gate, and they ran after him, and they held him down, and they are the ones who called the police. And so he got arrested that night, and that's when I woke up, my mom was there, and my cousin, my brother, he's
Oh,
like
so
my
you were
brother.
out for a
I was
while.
out, like I don't even know like how they brought me upstairs, and I had this big like bruise on my eye and my face, but I don't even like I could barely like remember like what was happening in between. And
Okay.
when they took me up, there I was just like, what's happening? And then like I kind of remembered things, but also like there was like a little bit of time where I was just like completely out.
Okay. Wow. And
Yeah.
then what happened after that?
Then I went back home with my parents, started staying home and trying to figure out what's happening, what to do. I still didn't consider divorce, I was because I had a lot, like grew up with a lot of stigma against divorce, and I was like, maybe we just need time apart. And my mom was like, there's no way you're going back to him, because there was like repeated things that were happening up to that point. And
Mm.
so my mom was like, there's no way you're going back. My dad was like, well, let's just see, because he's also like very much in the community,
Who, your
and
dad?
yeah. And so yeah, I was confused about what I wanted to do, but as time was passing, there was the detective that was working with me.
Yeah.
They encouraged me to get first a temporary restraining order and then a
Yeah.
permanent one, because they had gathered more evidence, because he had like I'm trying- I haven't talked about these things in a while. Um, he had like threatened to kill me and kill himself if I ever tried to leave him, and he would record himself saying that. I don't know why he recorded it, but he would say like, I know how to get a gun. It's $500 in Oakland. It's like, I don't even know how to get a gun, and I'm like born and raised here. And he said, I know how to get it, but I wasn't like afraid of him for whatever reason. There was like, I didn't know if he was just like saying it, or, but again, he had nothing to lose, right? And he was very impulsive. Like he was like somebody that he would just steal all the time. He got like speeding tickets. He was just a very impulsive person. And later, while I was going back to school, I realized he had antisocial personality disorder. Very like charming on the outside, very like people could not believe he is the way he is. And he was trying to even turn my own family against me, because they would ask like, why are you doing these things? And he was like, well, Minnie doesn't tell me the truth about things, or she's not talking to me, and then trying to make it look like something's wrong with me, and like gaslighting all the time, and I really thought I was going crazy. I had a panic attack for the first time in my life in that relationship. And so just like they had gathered more evidence, and he ended up having $1 million bail. It was like on our front newspaper and everything, and that's how our community started finding out, because they started seeing the newspaper and calling my dad like, what's going on, is Minnie okay? And I just felt a lot of shame, about what was happening. At first, I felt free that I was out of it, that I was home. Like I felt like this, like, oh, wow, I have my family back. I have, like I feel better. I feel safer again. But everybody started feeling sorry for me, like, poor Minnie, I'm so sorry that happened to you. Like even in my own family, the women were saying like, oh, now you're a divorcee. You have this mark on the head, on your head for the rest of your life. And I started seeing myself as like defective and broken during that time, even by well-intentioned people, but they were pitting me, and it made me feel even smaller, right? Because I was already like coming in with, like, my soul was shattered after that, but it was like with everybody coming in and like feeling sorry for me, it made me feel even smaller. And I wasn't taking care of myself at all that time. So that couple of years, I experienced severe PTSD, a lot of like flashbacks, nightmares, hypervigilance. I was always like scanning. Even every time I'd go in a room, I'd always look for the exits. I always had to be by a wall. I couldn't even have anything behind me. And then so I would just like go to work and home. And then I started my master's at that time just to give me structure. I always wanted to be a psychologist. I wasn't sure if I wanted to do an MD or a PhD. But that's why I was working in hospitals just to figure it out. And I decided, I wanted to be a psychologist. And I had lost that motivation, or that, I didn't, that confidence that I could be. I was like, oh, who am I to be a doctor? I can't be a doctor. Maybe I'll just do a master's. And that felt more attainable. So I went for my master's. I went to Dominican College in Marin County. But it just gave me structure. Like I wasn't very present with it. So it was like school, work, home, school, work, home. And then eventually I started spending time with like our family friends who were like, all the other Indian families know each other. And so we're spending time together, but we're drinking a lot of alcohol at that time. Then I started drinking a lot, excessively, not taking care of my health. I wasn't eating right. Eventually, so my youngest brother was still living at home. I have 2 brothers and 1 sister. And so my youngest brother was still living at home, and he was getting into bodybuilding. He was competing. And so he started taking me to the gym. And then we started going to his shows as a family. And that's when the first time I saw women's bikini, that division. And I was like, oh my God, it was like, they look like Wonder Woman. I was just like impressed. I never thought, oh my God, I want to do this. I was just like impressed by how they look. And it was like still like feminine, but muscle. They just look so strong. And then his best friend who was competing with him was also a trainer. And so we were friends on Facebook. His name's Ariel. And so Ariel was training people online, or like in person, but like posting transformations. And then one day I just like commented kind of jokingly. I was like, can you make me look like that? And then he was like, yeah, come in my gym, just like come in. And like he was more serious than me for a second. But then I was like, okay, like, you have that like my heart started beating a little bit faster. I was like, okay, I think I'm ready for this. I knew I needed change. I was tired of that lifestyle of like drinking and not taking care of myself. And so I went to his gym. Choice? Yeah. And what was what?
What was your drink of choice?
Oh my God, what were we drinking that time? I think it was just like, I don't even know. It was like Crown and Coke.
So were you drinking because it was like social, or were you drinking because that was your way of numbing the pain and escaping?
I think it was both.
Both?
Yeah. I thought it was social, but I realize now that I reflect, because it was so excessive, it was like 2-3 times a week, and I was functioning, I was still going to school and working, but I wasn't. But because of how much we were doing that, it's like maybe we all were, in some ways trying to numb something, trying to escape something. And because you're not present, with what's going on, with what you're feeling. And so it did help me through. I heard myself laughing for the first time in so long, during that time. And so I thought, this is good. I have so many friends and we're hanging out, and we weren't like partying, like club partying. It was more like local, we'd all go to somebody's backyard or somebody's park. It was all in our neighborhoods, it was always somebody's house. But it was, again, just It just didn't feel good anymore. It was excessive. So, yeah.
And you went to the gym?
Yeah. And then finally started training with Ariel. He gave me my diet, my plan, and my brother's like, you better do this.
How long ago was that?
That was 2011.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. 2011. And, well, again, but I was ready for it once I started, so I went in first for the aesthetic changes, but within a few weeks, I started to notice this mental and emotional shift that I had started to experience because, when you're training, like you have to like look in the mirror, your form, he would say like, chin up, shoulders back, chest out, and I never stood like that in my entire life, and I realized like how long I had been walking around just with my head down. Because there was one day I was driving on 80. I was like I was going to work. And I remember I like looked up and I started looking at the sky. And there was like hills and then the sky. And I just started crying because I realized I hadn't looked up at the sky in so long. I've been just like walking like this, just like with what's in front of me or looking on the ground. And it was like this embodiment shift that I had experienced. And from that, when I started feeling more confident and feeling different in my body, that's when I got the confidence to go back to school. And I said, I'm ready to apply for my doctorate now. I feel like I can do more, I can take on more. I started building that capacity within myself. And I was, so that's when I went back to school. And 2012 is when I started my doctorate program. And
so you finished master's and went for doctor?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah.
Impressive.
Yeah. So that's when and then I moved out. I moved to Walnut Creek. I was living with, alone.
Where's Walnut Creek at?
Walnut Creek's in the East Bay. Yeah, it's like in the valley, Diablo Valley. Yeah.
Okay.
It's a nice little area. It's warm always. The weather's always great. It's a nice community.
Okay.
So
All right.
once I started school, I went like all in, I was ready. But this is where I think part of what the work that I do now is what's one thing that happened was once I started school, everyone was like so proud of me, right? Like the family or community. And I just like went all in. I became almost like a workaholic. I didn't own a TV. And I finished a 5-year program in 4 years. I was presenting at every conference that I could go to, doing as much work, but I loved it. I feel like I finally found my purpose, but I also was like, that's all I started to do. It became like everything. And it was being reinforced because everyone was, again, not seeing me as defective or broken anymore. It's like I was almost trying to prove everyone wrong. And so I had never even talked about, what happened for a long time. It was only a couple of years ago that I shared for the first time that, I was married and I had gone through this situation, publicly. I shared that. But it wasn't that I was hiding it, but it was also like, it was something I didn't really identify with anymore. I didn't really reflect on anymore. I was just like always future focused about what's next.
Hey guys, quick interruption because I have an important announcement to make. If you're a man between 20 and 45 who is out of shape, feels lost, stuck, undisciplined, or feels like you living beneath your potential, I created a U 2.0 mentorship program for you. I know what it feels like to carry the pain, lack direction, struggle with discipline, and try to figure out life without healthy masculine guidance. I also know this truth. When a man is broken, everybody around him feels it. His relationship, his family, his future, and his purpose. Everything suffers. My U 2.0 is a coaching program for men who are tired of drifting and ready to rebuild themselves from the inside out. Inside the program, we focus on 7 pillars: purpose, healing, discipline, masculine identity, family, brotherhood, and faith. This is not a fake macho content. This is not empty motivation. This is a real process for men who are ready to heal, break destructive habits, build self-respect, gain clarity, and become the kind of men they can actually respect. So if you're tired of wasting your time, tired of feeling stuck, and ready to become the man you know you're meant to be, click the link in the description to check out the program, or go to my website and enter your email so I can send you my free guide on how to find purpose and level up in life. Now back to the episode.
Wow. How did well, where's the ex-husband now? You know?
I know he's living in some other state.
Okay.
But
All right.
I have a permanent restraining order against him now,
Okay,
so
good.
I don't know. I haven't seen him since that time.
I can't help but ask, and I don't mean to sound accusatory, but like, what did your father do in this situation when he found out that
Yeah.
your husband was physically abusing you?
Yeah. Honestly, he's tried to talk to him.
Uh-huh.
You know, he's like trying to figure out what he didn't get angry, or like he wasn't like my brothers were ready to kick his ass. My cousins, you know, they got really angry about things and they were ready to like beat him up. But my dad was more like, let's figure out what's happening, and like trying to talk to him. So I don't, and I was really upset with my dad at first, because when he did get out of jail for a little bit between his court hearing, like he got arrested and then they sent him, you know, home for a
Yeah.
little bit. And he started living in one of my dad's apartments. Like my dad let him stay in one of his apartments while I was living at home. So I was like, why are you still helping him? But he felt almost like responsible for this person, because he was like his son-in-law, and we came all the way from India. He didn't have any other family except that uncle. And the uncle like kind of backed off. He was like,
Yeah, where's the uncle at
yeah.
now?
He kind of backed off. He wasn't like not in the picture. He was like, I think they got into, he said that they had gotten into an argument amongst themselves and they weren't really talking.
Your dad and the
No,
uncle? The nephew and uncle?
yeah, my ex-husband and
Yeah.
his uncle.
Yeah. I try to be a better person.
Yeah.
I read the scripture. I try to forgive, be patient. But the thought of somebody punching my daughter into unconsciousness,
Yeah.
I hope cops get them
Yeah.
to that person before me.
Yeah.
Because if I get to that person before cops,
Yeah.
I would skin him alive.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's, I don't know your dad, and maybe it's not my place to speak, but like one of my biggest fears is I grew up in a violent environment. My father was physically abusive. I've experienced a lot of physical abuse. He was an alcoholic, jealous, along the lines of your ex-husband. So maybe it's my past and growing up around violence and being prone to violence and being violent myself for many years, which I had to work on. Maybe it's the remains of that make my blood boil. But I just, if I was your dad, or
And usually
your
like
cousins
it's
or your
so
brothers,
crazy because
man,
my
this
dad
guy
was
would've
like
been
hot-tempered in so many other ways. Like every
Yeah.
time when we were younger, like there would be a fight and my dad was in it, and he would always
Yeah.
justify it like the other person did something wrong.
Yeah.
Like he was very much about like standing up for others, and
Yeah.
but
Men
it's
in your culture are
interest-
very prideful.
Yeah.
Very prideful, and they're
Yeah.
quick to physical violence.
Yeah.
And it always, I find it funny because Indian men are not exactly the biggest dudes out there.
Yeah.
A lot of times, like, just going in college, is like, bro, like, you're not about that life.
Yeah.
Let's not go there. But then it's also pride and ego, it's just, and, yeah, it's weird. Well, but, I think what you've gone through is very empowering to the women out there, because you for sure are not the only one who's going through this. My mom went through this. My dad was never physically abusive with my mom. Like, he's never hit her, although he stabbed her one time
Oh wow.
in front of me. So that was something I had to deal with growing up and
Yeah.
go to therapy. Well, he wasn't trying to stab her. He was trying to stab my brother. She got in the middle.
Oh wow.
Yeah. And before I was born, he tried to actually stab her one time, and a neighbor got in between, so he stabbed the neighbor and then burned down the house. And then
Oh,
she
wow.
forgave him,
Oh wow.
and then she waited for him, just like you.
Yeah.
So it's something about women that have a bigger heart than men. But this is not about me. This is about you. I think there's a lot to learn from your story, and it's very empowering because I'm sure there's a lot of women out there and who go through this, and I've seen that happen a lot as a cop. I've been a cop for 10 years, and I've seen so many domestic violence calls, and I was just like, a lot of men out there need help, and they're too prideful to admit it, and they don't know how to fix it, and then the only way they know how to deal with their trauma is anger. Ask me how I know, right?
Yeah.
And that's a very, very bad way of handling things.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because it just destroys a man. It destroys a man, and it destroys families. It destroys communities, and a lot of men out there need help, but because they don't know how to deal with it, it's very sad because that results in arrest, domestic violence, abuse, physical abuse, jail time, prison, and even death.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's unfortunate.
Yeah, I mean, I'm very fortunate and privileged that my family actually helped me get out of that situation, because again, I was like, well, we just need time apart, but it was my mom really stood up for us, for me, and where she was very protective, and then over time, like, because she was getting upset with my dad too, like, why are you helping him? And he was like, well, he has nowhere else to go. What are we supposed to do? Finally, his uncle took him, but he ended up going back to jail. I didn't want to press charges. I was just like, leave. I just wanted him to leave me alone. But in California, the
it's
DA,
a felony. For a felony, you don't. For a misdemeanor, but
so the DA pushed press charges, and I was just a witness. And so I did go back, like after a year, to court when they were gonna give this final whatever, and I wrote a letter I read it out loud in front of the judge, because then I had more time to really reflect on what had been happening. When you're in it, it's your perception of how bad it is gets skewed. And that's why, and it was crazy because I did undergrad psychology, and I was working as a volunteer at women's shelters. I was, at domestic violence women's shelters, and I was translating for these women. It was an Asian women's shelter. And so translating
what
so it's Punjabi.
Okay.
Yeah. So it was a shelter I was volunteering at for 2 years. And I was teaching on domestic violence, the cycle of violence, and what happens. And it's so crazy.
We as officers learn that as well.
Right. Yeah. We were working closely with the police department too. So it was crazy that when you're in it, it's like it starts happening, and I wasn't even aware, when I was in it, of how, because you're in survival brain at that time. And when you're in survival brain, your perception of reality gets skewed. And also, like, he had good qualities too, like it wasn't like all black and white. It's easy to hate somebody or to say this is completely bad when they have all bad qualities.
I know exactly what you mean, because when I talk about my father, I always say, I don't like talking about my father in this way because he had great qualities, but what I tell about him portrays him in a very evil way. But he had, great qualities that, hard worker, selflessness. He just didn't know how to deal with his demons. So I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
So, but he actually had to go to court and testify as a witness?
Yeah. Yeah.
And he was there?
He was there. That was the first time I saw him, like after a year.
How'd you feel about it?
I was just really nervous. I remember I was shaking. But I read that entire letter, and I was really proud of myself. I remember feeling really proud of myself that I got through it, that I did that. My parents were with me. And I just, we didn't talk to him. Obviously, his uncle was there, but we didn't talk to them. And then I just never looked back after that. I just kind of, went back home, started my grad program, started getting into bodybuilding, and just started looking forward and never looked back.
Did he get hard time or probation or something?
I think he did a couple years. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well.
But I don't know how he stayed in this country, because he was on a green card, and you're supposed to go back for an interview after 2 years, and we never went for that interview. So I don't know if he's like illegal or what.
Oh, who cares? It's
I know.
It's not your problem.
I know. But I'm just like.
How did all that impact the work that you do the rest of your life, and
Yeah.
how, and in other words, did you use that and it transferred into something that you now used to help people?
Yeah.
Like what was the shift that you were able to make?
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. And, for one, I became it's very stronger in using my voice because once I had that time apart, it hit me, like this is my Bay Area. I brought him here. Why am I looking over my shoulder? Why am I giving one person this power over me? I have so much love and family and community around me. Why am I afraid to go outside? And so it just like I started feeling more empowered. And I think honestly, it was my fitness that was giving me that change because it was like you're shifting your body, and it changes the way your brain works.
Mm-hmm. Sure does.
So yeah, so that's when I started feeling more empowered, and I started becoming an advocate for women. In the work that I started doing in grad school, I was working, doing presentations. I would always talk about women empowerment and using your voice, even if it shakes. Say what you need to say. Started learning about boundaries and communication and teaching it. And the best way to learn something is to teach it. So that reinforces like, okay, I got to do the work. Make sure I'm doing this too. I can't just teach these things because that's always been important to me to live in congruence with what I'm teaching. I would never make a recommendation to my patient if I wouldn't practice that myself, if I wouldn't do that myself.
Mm-hmm.
And so it was helping me to remember like, okay, I need to communicate better and be assertive, and it doesn't make me a bad person. I was this chronic people pleaser, always trying to do what everybody else wanted. And again, that was being a very, very passive communicator. And that's why it's kind of manipulative too, because then other people don't really know what you think or what you feel or what you need, right? It's like subtle manipulation that's happening unintentionally, right? You're still think you're being a good person by not saying anything. But when you're not honest about what you think and what you feel and what you need, you're giving that person the message that it's okay, to continue their behavior, to be, do whatever they're doing. You're almost enabling it. So you're part of that dynamic.
Yeah.
And I started taking responsibility and accountability for my part in that entire marriage and the entire situation. Now I know how to screen things better. I can be more discerning. I know what questions to ask because I know myself better. Like today, if I met somebody like that, I have like thousands of questions and I still probably wouldn't go through with it. I would never do that again. But I'm just saying, like, now I know exactly what I want and what I'm looking for. And it's helped me in that way and with clarity and courage for sure.
How's the dating life after that?
So I was dating somebody in grad school throughout my grad school. We're together for like 5 years. And then we're just kind of, I was changing a lot as I was going through grad school too, kind of getting more stronger, more confident. And so it just kind of outgrew. And but it's not always easy, dating. I'm single right now, so it's just, I'm just focused on my career and building
You
up.
guys hear that?
Yeah.
Serious inquiries only. We have a
I'm
screening
open,
process now.
but again,
Gotta qualify.
yeah. So I'm just like focused on building my business, my work. That brings me so much joy. It doesn't feel like I'm working anymore at all. Like it just feels like, when you're in alignment with your purpose, and this is who I'm meant to be. I feel now that even though I don't wish that happened, in many ways I would not be here today had I not gone through that situation, because I have a new profound appreciation for my family, for my freedom, for my life. And that's why, even with trauma, like, when you have hope, I always had a little bit of hope there. Like that was something that things can change, things will change. And I feel like when you're at a point at the darkest, lowest low of your life, if you can just keep one glimmer of hope, that's enough to pull you through. And that's really what I felt like. Things were like clouded. I felt like the heaviness, but I could always see like a glimmer, like things are going to change, things are going to improve. And at first I thought, well, he'll change, we need time apart. But then I realized that's not it. It's like there were other things I started finding. And then it just like, I just kept putting one foot in front of the other, with my grad school and now with my career. It wasn't like I thought so far in the future, this is what I want to do. It's just like what intuitively felt like the next step. So I started learning yoga around the same time I started training in the gym. I started going to a yoga studio and got really into that. And then in 2014, I got my first certification, and I started learning more about the research on how yoga and helps with anxiety, depression with clinical work. There was a lot more research that was being published about it, and I was really interested in that. So I did my yoga teacher training while I was in grad school, because I thought one day I want to be able to teach this to my clients, my patients. And that's what I did. So I started teaching in the hospitals. I was working in a pain clinic at San Mateo Medical Center, did my postdoc there, and I was teaching yoga in the hospital. That was awesome. I did my pre-doc at UT in Texas Medical Center, and I was teaching to the psychiatrist, the residents, for us, because I was like, we need it too. So I've always wanted to combine healthcare and yoga, and because I always saw like that this is it. You can't leave the body out of the picture when you're treating trauma and anxiety and stress, because that's what helped me.
Yep.
And so I was trying to bridge those two worlds for a long time.
Yeah, the body and the mind are definitely both very strongly connected. Even like people like Tony Robbins, they talk about that you need to move the body, stand a certain way, chin up, like you said, shoulders back, and look up, and instantly your mindset will change, which is true.
Yeah.
Fitness has been life-changing experience for me, because I was always that skinny kid, and just transforming my body has gave me a tremendous amount of confidence and competence, and I was able to do things that I never thought I'll be able to do before. And then I would even go as far as saying that once I got my body under control, that's when I started working on my mind. And then my mindset and all that, and now I'm working on my spirit, doing a lot of spiritual work. At least I try. But yeah, everything is connected, and a lot of people carry trauma in their bodies. A lot. And people get sick when they experience a lot of mental trauma. Even me, even like stress. Like stress is very, very taxing on the body.
Absolutely.
I've experienced that. I've got like shingles one time from stress. And then when shingles come from stress, I've had my first anxiety attack from stress. Yeah, so I'm still learning how to regulate my body, sleep, and all of that, because if you don't control that, because I have enough stress.
Yeah.
And if I had stress and personal trauma that was not healed, I would have been a bad person I was before.
Yeah, and that's why so many people are, right? And they turn to substances, alcohol, their violence, they're out, acting out in different ways, and not really handling what's actually going on inside their nervous system, and understanding what these are biological changes that happen when you're under stress, right? Like you said, you had shingles, and that's common, when you're under so much stress. And other autoimmune conditions, there's a 70% likelihood that somebody has a trauma history that has autoimmune conditions. Because I was working in the pain clinic, and so many of them had a history of trauma, multiple traumas. We call them even ACEs. So the higher the ACE scores, the adverse childhood experiences. Yeah. So it's a big study that was done by Kaiser in the 90s, and they ask you 10 questions about childhood neglect, abuse, trauma, things like that. And the more adversities that you've had as a child, the more likelihood you're to have cardiovascular disease and autoimmune disorders, diabetes, all these other health conditions. There is a medical overlap with stress in the body. And we know this now because we know exactly what's happening physiologically when you're under stress. And that's what I teach today. So I teach on what's happening in your brain, in your nervous system. What is the nervous system? It's a command center for the entire body. It dictates how you think, how you feel, how you respond, how you react. But if the body isn't constantly scanning its environment, am I safe, or is there a threat? Like we're doing that right now without even realizing it. We call it neuroceptive awareness. So our body is always kind of scanning, even before it comes to our mind logically, before we're able to say that this is what I'm feeling, this is what's happening. Sometimes you just get a feeling, right? Like I said, I felt like something was off about that guy when I met him. But now I know, like, that was my nervous system was saying there's something about this experience, because we're reading facial expressions, vocal tone. It's non-verbal cues that we're mostly picking up. So we override it. We think it's fine, because of the circumstances, the situation. We're overriding what our nervous system is telling us all the time. And we just keep living life the way we are on autopilot unless we really pause and take a look. Like, what am I actually feeling right now? What is my body telling me it needs right now? And that's what's leading to the behavior. A lot of times in my work, people come to change a behavior first. They're like, oh, I have anger issues. I'm experiencing, this relationship stress, whatever it is. But behavior is the product of what's going on underneath, because there's state is actually the foundation, your nervous system state. So if somebody's living in a state of urgency, they're going to have patterns of like perfectionism, overworking, sometimes shutdown, whatever patterns they're going to have. And that's what leads to the behavior. So if they don't understand the nervous system state that they're in, they're trying to change the kind of the outside part, if that makes sense, right? The behavior is what everybody else sees. But we're not really changing what we're experiencing and how we're relating to stress. Because stress is inevitable, right? It's going to happen no matter what. It's really like your ability do I have the capacity to manage this stressor in right now? But if you're not, like you said, if you're not managing your sleep, your health, you're taking care of yourself, you're not going to have the capacity to get over, to make those changes that you actually want to change.
Have you ever read The Gift of Fear?
No.
In the beginning, when you were telling your story of how you went down there to meet this ex-husband of yours, and you said something didn't feel right, I remember that book. I didn't want to interrupt your story. I recommend you read it, and maybe if you work with women and men as well, have them read that book as well. I think it's by Gavin DeBecker. Okay. It does talk about how they interviewed survivors of serial killers and rapists, and they all across the border said, I should listen to my gut. Like, the fear is a gift.
Yeah.
Your intuition is a gift.
Right.
Like, animals have that. We as humans, as we evolved, we sort of lost it. So that feeling that you had, that your intuition telling you something isn't right, was your gut feeling.
Right.
And it's okay to listen to it sometimes, and it's okay to listen to your fear sometimes, because if you're in the elevator by yourself and the elevator door opens and you're like, there's one dude in there, and the gut is telling you, don't go into the elevator. Don't go into the elevator.
Right.
Wait for the next one.
Yeah.
You don't have to be like, oh, well, I'm not going to follow stereotypes. I'm not going to be that person. Be that person.
Yeah.
Don't go into the elevator.
Yeah.
Be safe.
Yeah.
Say whatever you need to say, because the gift is, the fear is there for a reason.
Yeah.
It keeps you alive.
Right.
And it talks about that, and that's the first part of the book. And the second part of the book, interestingly enough, talks about relationships and how they turn really ugly and violent, like yours did. And it talks about the patterns that people don't notice in their partners, or ignore or try to work on, but they lead to violence, physical abuse, and even murder.
Yeah.
So you will enjoy that book.
Yeah. And it's so true. Fear is a gift. Our intuition is a gift, and we do lose access to that gift when we're under stress too, because that's coming from a brain area of the brain called the insula. And so when it comes to our intuition, we have more clarity, and that's why things like contemplative practices like meditation or mindfulness or walking in nature, journaling, these things work, but because it helps to slow the mind down, helps to regulate the nervous system, and then you have more access to your intuition. Everybody has intuition, but they're overriding it if they're living in survival brain. They're not going to, it's like you're clouded, from that intuition.
I talked about that briefly doing my presentation at this Scale Syndicate.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I grew up in chaos,
Yeah. Yeah.
and I always seek chaos. And to this day, I'm very comfortable in chaos.
Yeah.
So this mindfulness things that you talk about are very unnatural to me.
Yeah. Yeah.
Meditation, journaling, all that stuff is very unnatural to me.
Yeah. Yeah.
Chaos is normal for me, but
Yeah.
I understand that it's not the way to go about life.
Yeah. Yeah.
I need to work on that still.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, I journal here and there.
Yeah. Yeah.
My wife always tells me to journal.
Mm-hmm.
I try to spend time alone by myself
Mm-hmm.
now because I'm constantly pumping things into my head.
Yeah.
And before I would justify it, well, it's a podcast, well, it's a book,
Yeah.
well, it's this, well, I'm learning.
Yeah.
But I realized I don't sit in silence enough.
Yeah.
So now I purposely try to, like, when I'm driving somewhere, be in silence or just stay in silence and
Yeah.
just pay attention to my own thoughts, because that's where
Right.
the magic happens.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, like sitting with that discomfort, because there is going to be an urge to like turn
Yeah.
on the music or do
Yeah.
something because you're used to that. But also like that's how you build capacity to be able to tolerate, you know, like, okay, I can handle a little bit more, because if you're constantly living in chaos, what is that doing to your body over time?
it's destroying it.
Yeah. It's working against what you're trying to build, and you need
Mhm.
to have capacity in order to scale, in order to build a business. You can't do that from a, you know, there's what we call a window of tolerance of how much stress somebody can handle. And so if you're always kind of going, naturally your window of tolerance becomes more narrow about what you can manage. And you keep telling yourself, I got it, I just have to push through. But chronically,
Mhm.
what does that do, you know, to your capacity over time? Your body's going to eventually hit the emergency brake.
Sooner and
Yeah.
sooner and sooner. Every
And
window,
that's when
yeah.
people
I've
have
noticed
panic
that.
attacks, they shut down. There, you know, something catastrophic almost has to happen where they can say, I'm burnt out. But burnout happens way earlier, right? When they're procrastinating or they're over functioning, they're overworking. There's other signs for burnout before it's collapse. Burnout doesn't always look like collapse. Sometimes it looks like over functioning because they feel like they cannot rest. I can't slow down. I can't stop. Even if I go on vacation, I can't slow down. That they're already burnt out because they're in a dysregulated nervous system state.
My partner's like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, my business partner, my best friend. He's like that. But he has a lot of ace and a lot of trauma, and he's seen a lot, has done a lot, dysfunctional upbringing,
Yeah.
you know, multiple divorces and losing custody of his children, and then his way of dealing with that is overworking.
Mm-hmm.
He doesn't stop,
Yeah.
and because he doesn't stop, sometimes I try to be like him. I don't stop, because I never knew how to stop, and also him being like that also rubs off on me. And he's a great person, fantastic businessman.
Yeah.
But one of the things that I've done that helps me downregulate now, it's I do Sabbath. So like
Okay. Yeah.
Sundays,
Yeah.
I decided I check out.
Nice.
Maybe a
Yeah.
little bit of work towards the end of the day to prepare for Monday, but Sundays are like church,
Mm-hmm.
family day.
Yeah.
It helps me check out and then start fresh on Monday, because
Yeah.
before, when I was constantly work, even on Sundays, I just didn't have like mental rest.
Yeah.
And it started to affect my family.
Yeah.
And I was like, all right, there's a reason why God says you need to rest.
Yeah.
And it's fine.
Yeah.
Nothing has burned down or collapsed. You know, if on the contrary, we were growing.
Yeah.
There's more business. It's always just, when you're an entrepreneur, it's always that fear, like, I need to grow more. I need to sell more. I need to make more money. I need to.
Yeah.
But the more I read the Bible, I understand, like, it's not going to go anywhere.
Yeah. Yeah.
So when you first seek the kingdom of God,
Mm-hmm.
everything else will fall into place.
Right.
Believe it or not.
Yeah.
So to me, like, my faith and my family is number one now.
Yeah.
And it's fine.
Yeah.
Things work out well.
Yeah.
And if they don't, well, you know, they will.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I definitely agree with you that working on down-regulating and slowing down a little bit is a must for entrepreneurs.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I understand why you work with entrepreneurs now,
Yeah.
because we have no breaks.
Yeah.
And the more ambitious they are, the harder work they are, the more chaos that they can take on. It just doesn't stop.
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
I know that from personal
Yeah.
experience.
Yeah. But we also know that recovery is a strategy, right? Like you have to rest to be more productive, to do your best. People who don't rest, they're going to make more mistakes. They're going to be living in urgency more. They're not getting as much done as they think they are. That, like growth happens in rest, just like when you're building your
Yep.
muscle, right?
Yep.
Like it's like it
Sleep
happens
is-
with, it's progressive overload. There's recovery and then repetition. That's how you grow. And the same
Amen.
thing with the body is how you build capacity is you have to have that recovery period too. It's part of the protocol. It's not against productivity. It goes hand in hand. So I teach it as a strategy for productivity. It's like your phone, your battery. If it's just like on all the time, you're just like running on low. It's not, it's like your battery's depleted and you're running on fumes. And what does that do over
It
time?
holds less and less charge every
Yeah.
time. You need to charge
Yeah.
it more and more often. I like that comparison.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that comparison. Yeah. So what do you focus on and teach? Well, first let me ask you this question. Across the board, like what do you notice? Because you coach entrepreneurs, right?
Yeah. It's like founders, executives, physicians too.
What do you
lawyers.
notice across the border? What issues are we having? Why are we so sick?
I know. They usually come in because they have anxiety,
Yeah.
but then we realize,
Start taking notes,
there's a
dude.
lot of like
Writing
nervous system pattern
Yeah.
states that they're in. So what we call schemas. So schemas are
How do you spell schema?
SCHEMA.
EMA. Okay.
Is-
I am taking notes.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So a schema is a state that somebody develops. It's a pattern that they develop in order to stay regulated. So a schema can be perfectionism. It could be some people have a self-sacrifice schema. Some people have what we call subjugation, meaning that other people's emotions or other people's what they need is more important than mine. So we develop these patterns in order to feel needed, in order to have a sense of belonging, for acceptance, which we are wired to have as human beings. We need to co-regulate. We need to be connected to other people, but we're doing it sometimes in ways that's harming ourselves. So overworking, for example, right? People do that because they feel needed when they're working a lot. It makes them feel good.
here.
And so they feel like if I'm not doing this, what purpose do I have?
Oh, I've struggled with that.
Yeah.
I struggle with that. Yeah, and I cannot sit still.
Mm-hmm.
I do now,
Yeah.
but I feel like I gotta work. I gotta do all that. There's so much to do. But I also realize, like you said, that's never gonna stop.
Yeah.
So
So you have to
Stop
So
overworking.
let me ask you this. Like, let's say 5 minutes or like a minute before you check your email, maybe for the 10th time, what are you feeling in your body?
just in general, when I wake
Yeah.
up,
Like maybe even as soon as you wake up, if you're feeling anxious as soon as you wake up.
so one thing that I've done is I try not to grab this device when I wake up.
Yeah.
Instead, I kind of put it aside and I go through my morning routine, right?
Okay.
And I read the Bible.
Okay.
And I noticed that's been helping me a lot,
Okay.
because the second I pick this thing up,
Yeah.
it's game over.
Yeah.
It's
And do you know why?
Well, it puts me in a reactive state.
Yeah.
Versus when I wake up and I spend that first hour do my morning routine, like make my little snack, sit down, pray, read the Bible, and it's quiet. Wife is asleep, baby's asleep, the rest of the world is still dark.
Mm-hmm.
And I hate waking up early in the morning.
Mm-hmm.
But it just sets me up right.
Yeah. Yeah.
It sets me up right. It kind of prepares me for the day. So when I finally grab this device, it's like, all right. But I've had days when I would make a mistake and I'd pick it up,
Yeah.
and the rest of the day is just chaos, dude.
Yeah.
It's just, I was like, God
Yeah.
damn it! Like, why would I do that?
Yeah.
So that's my mornings.
Okay.
But to answer your question, how do I feel before I grab my phone and check it? I guess sometimes anxiety,
Uh-huh.
because like today I was sitting there. I worked really late, right? I left the office like past midnight,
Mm-hmm.
almost close to 1 a.m. So I slept in a little bit
Mm-hmm.
till about 7 or 8. You know, the wife was already awake, baby was awake, but I still spent a little time like reading the Bible. And I left my phone in the kitchen, and I'm reading the Bible, and I'm like, my phone, my phone. And I
Uh-huh.
was like, no, stop. Like, the world is not burning down.
Yeah.
Like, this is your time in Scripture.
Yeah.
Stop thinking about it. Because
Yeah.
even when I read Scripture, I'm like, my phone's right here
Yeah.
in case somebody's calling me. I was like,
Yeah.
no, stop it.
Yeah.
Like, down-regulate yourself.
Mm-hmm.
This, just learn, read, because I'm reading Proverbs. I don't know if you're
Mm-hmm.
familiar with Proverbs.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
basically,
It's like
it's straight
poems.
wisdom.
Yeah. Yeah.
And today's, Proverbs 11 is a lot about business and hard work
Okay.
and honesty and
Yeah.
integrity. But I'm just like, my phone's in the kitchen. Oh, somebody
Yeah.
calls me. What? I was like, no, relax.
Uh-huh.
So it does put me in a state of anxiety sometimes
Yeah.
where, so I do it on purpose now. Like
Yeah.
when for dinner, I come home, I put this away, I take the watch away, and I have dinner
Yeah.
with my wife and the baby. And at the gym, I'm like, okay, I try not to answer phone calls anymore because it's one phone, unless it's really important. I was
Yeah.
like, you can't wait because this
Yeah.
is my 30, 40 minutes
Exactly.
of,
Yeah. Me too.
physical destruction of the body, but it's good for my mental health.
Right.
Otherwise, like the only 3 minutes of peace I have is when I'm like inside a cold plunge. Because
Mm-hmm.
now I'm forced to like,
Yeah. Can't check your phone then.
phone doesn't matter now. I'm just like, it's cold, That's
Yeah.
that's because when
Okay.
when I'm in pain, I was always very good at being, what do you call it? Not seductive. The word I'm looking for. Masochist. What's the opposite of
Okay.
masochist? Sadist.
Yeah.
I've always been very sadistical to my body.
I see. Yeah.
Because I've used physical pain as a way to treat mental pain,
Wow.
which is not good.
Mm-hmm.
Because I would always like get injured, destroy my body,
Yeah.
just put myself in like
Yeah.
cold plunge. When I don't need to go in the 30s. Like I'm
Yeah.
fine in like 50 degrees or
Yeah.
like 48. You don't need to
Yeah.
go 35 degrees. That's cold. You
Right.
get sick.
Yeah.
Don't be stupid. But I was always like, like I need pain.
Yeah.
No, you don't.
Yeah.
You don't need pain.
No.
You just need to like know how to work through your brain,
Right.
through your mental stress.
Right. Yeah. And even so when we look at the nervous system, there's basically 3 states. So there's the ventral vagal state, which is when we're in that rest and digest state. So that's when we're feeling mindful, we're feeling connected socially, we're engaged with other people. It's either easy to experience joy, and it's also easy to learn and to think and to be focused and concentrate when we're in that state. Basically, the nervous system is saying, I am safe right now. As stress fluctuates throughout the day, which it naturally will, right? Like it's like a meter going up and down in your body. So as stressors accumulate, you check your phone, you notice, some emails I need to respond to. There's something happening on the backside I need to figure out. Stress is going to go up, and now we're entering the sympathetic nervous system, which is that fight or flight state, which is fine, right? Because that's when the body is now moving into mobility, like where there's action. We need to do something. So you might notice your heart is racing a little bit more. Your muscles might tense up. Blood flow is going towards your limbs, away from your digestive tract, because it's preparing you to fight or to run, right? So it's mobilizing you. It's not a bad thing. But when we're chronically in that state, then obviously that's when we're experiencing GI disorders and other conditions that
Ulcers,
happen.
all that stuff.
In the body, because it's not designed to stay in that state. We're in a healthy body, it should fluctuate up and down. If we don't resolve our stressors in that state, and stress continues to increase, what happens now, we enter that 3rd state, which is called the dorsal vagal state. And in that state is when we're in freeze. So now the body has gone from I can in mobility to I can't. There's nothing else I can do. So the body almost puts this emergency brake. We call it the vagal brake because it's your vagus nerve. So there's like a emergency brake, and that's when we go into shutting down. So people feel in that freeze state, they may feel shame, they feel depression, they feel hopeless, they feel stuck. They feel like there's nothing else I can do. So the body is almost like feigning death. It's almost like a turtle climbing up in a shell. Like I might as well just play dead to protect myself. That's it's a survival strategy. And so that's why, when we're not doing things to help bring that meter back down by, taking time with our family, by resting, by, eating nourishing meals, by movement, we're going to put ourselves in that chronically in that state. And that's going to keep us in that dysregulated
Yep.
nervous system state. And then your stress hormones are going to continue to, fire off your adrenaline, your cortisol. And over time, when you're in that state for too long, your perception of stressors that are inevitable, it changes. So when you have capacity in your body because you've been taking care of, you're back in that ventral vagal state, the same stressor that's in front of you can appear very different. It's almost like it feels like a challenge. You can match it. It's like, I can handle this. Yeah, there's a lot going on. Whoa, I got like 30 emails to get back to. I have these clients that are not happy. Things are happening. My wife is not happy. There's things that are happening in your life that are inevitable, but it feels like I can handle it. I know what to do. I can do this because you have capacity in you because you've been taking care of your body. But if you're up here, that's those same stressors, even the littlest thing, it feels like there's nothing there. It's just too much. That's why you might notice sometimes it's like a little thing. It just like ticks you off so much because your window of tolerance is so narrow at that point. So your body does not have capacity. So that's why we always start with state first, not changing the behaviors. We're trying to change behaviors and discipline and mindset. Those things are important, but they come after regulating the body first. And that's why movement, training, yoga, whatever your choice is, it doesn't really matter as long as you're moving your body and it brings you joy
Yeah.
and you're mindful while you're doing it. It helps you to feel more in control and it changes your perception of stressors, like the brain's ability to say, I can tolerate this, that shifts. And that's really what matters most because now your patterns will change. You're not going to shut down. You're not going to overwork or try to be a perfectionist or whatever your pattern ends up being. You're not going to need to do that because you feel safe in your body. You feel like you can handle it. So those behaviors even are going to start to shift naturally on their own. You're not going to want to, snap at people. You're just going to be a different version of yourself because you're regulating your state throughout the day. So it's not just, that's great that you do those things on Sunday, but it's also throughout your day. Are you doing like micro managing throughout the day, micro like regulating yourself throughout the day? Are you doing anything like that during the day?
Sometimes I just try to sit in silence or pray, which is kind of like sort of meditation.
Yeah.
But other than that, no, I wouldn't really know what the micromanagement of during the day would be.
Yeah.
Go for a walk,
Yeah.
maybe,
It could
or
be. Yeah. Going for a walk or
journal.
taking
Yeah.
a break. It's really about just kind of becoming more present with how you're feeling. You're not abandoning yourself. Because what's happening is we're abandoning ourselves to get things done. We're overriding my need to feel safe right now. So again, being aware, first is awareness. Like, what am I feeling right now? Like, you may feel like, I notice my heart rate's going up right now. I'm noticing I'm clenching my fists, or there's tension in my body. So that's why, you can do something like deep breathing, going for a walk, because
Yeah.
that helps to regulate your physiology, but also asking yourself, what is it? What, not so much like what am I afraid of or like, but what pattern, what story am I telling myself if I don't do this? What is the story? Because we're all living with old survival stories and patterns while we're trying to become someone new. So it's like,
Yeah.
which one are you leading with right now when you're telling yourself, I have to check my phone right now? What is the story that you're telling yourself in that moment? It's not so much like put your phone away, like that's great, but also like, what are you telling, why do you think that's happening? Because it's a natural response. It's coming from your body. Like, I have an urgency or urge to check my phone, but what is the story I'm telling myself if I don't check my phone?
I guess the story I tell myself is things will go wrong if I don't check my
Yeah.
phone.
Yeah.
But in reality, I mean, if you think about it, everything will be fine.
Yeah.
Nothing will burn down.
Yeah. So I'll fall behind or I'll miss
Yeah,
something.
yeah, maybe like
or,
that. I'll fall
yeah,
behind. I gotta make sure clients don't call me.
yeah,
Well, when I record a podcast, I put my phone on D&D.
hmm,
But that's the only time I put my phone on D&D.
yeah,
Well, also when I sleep now, I put my phone away from me because vibration wakes me up too.
hmm,
You know, interestingly enough, my wife today in the morning, she was telling me, because I'm sleeping last night and I hear her say, babe, relax. I was like, relax, I'm sleeping. And in the morning, she was telling me, and we're going to talk about that with her tonight, because
hmm.
apparently she was telling me that I was like tensed up and I was asleep.
Oh wow, yeah,
And I was like, I don't know why.
hmm,
But I do wear this ring. This ring sometimes notifies me, like, because it measures
hmm.
stress level.
Okay,
I don't
yeah,
know how.
yeah,
Once in a while, it will send me notifications to the phone, like, hey,
hmm,
something is off in your body.
hmm,
Like, pause. And that's when I was like, all right, if it's telling me to pause, and I'm like, okay, I just kind of do like a little micromanaging exercise or something like that. But I am a little better now at managing my stress than I was
hmm,
before. And I
hmm.
think it has a lot to do with before I was constantly, I mean, being a cop for 10 years, you're always in the fight or flight.
Yeah,
Always.
yeah,
And I don't know if you know that about me. I'm a biomed also, so
hmm,
I graduated with a bio degree. So I'm
yeah,
intimately familiar with how the body works, the anatomy, the sympathetic system, parasympathetic system, fight, flight, freeze.
yeah,
So I took that with me into police work, and I knew that every time I'm on the job, and even off the job, right, I'm constantly hypervigilant.
hmm,
Maybe not as much anymore, but being a man, being a father, being a husband, being a leader,
yeah,
being a concealed carrier, firearm carrier, being a protector, like I'm still my back against the wall. Where are the
yeah,
exits? I'm
hmm,
paying attention. I have that's just part of my human nature.
yeah,
But being a cop, like what one of the things that constantly kills first responders, and I say kills because it really does.
hmm,
It's living in that fight or flight
yeah,
always, and then not being able to downregulate, because sometimes we go through those traumatic events. I think an average person experiences like one traumatic event in life.
hmm,
An average excuse me, police officer has like over a dozen.
yeah, yeah,
We see dead bodies,
sure,
people mutilated, dead children, rape victims of rape, and all
hmm,
kinds of crazy stuff. And we don't know how to downregulate.
hmm,
So when your body crashes, it goes past the point of your threshold of
yeah,
normal performance,
yeah,
and then now you're feeling down,
yeah,
and it takes time to come back up.
yeah,
Or you're forced to be hypervigilant again at the next critical incident,
yeah,
and it's just over time, it just takes a toll on your body.
yeah,
And the way we deal with it is, shut up and man up, man. Go have a drink.
right,
Nothing a bottle of whiskey and
right,
and a woman is not gonna fix. And if
right,
it doesn't, do it
yeah,
again, and
yeah,
then do it again.
yeah,
That's why we're number one in committing suicides.
right,
You know.
yeah,
So it is true. It
yeah,
is true that, because I've gone through emotional survival for first responders and different trainings. I was always that cop. I was like, yeah, I want to go. I want to learn.
hmm,
So I learned a lot about how the body works and how like police work and first responders. So we struggle with that
hmm,
big time. So maybe if you're like open to it, definitely work with first responders, because we suck at it.
yeah,
They teach
yeah,
us how to fight, shoot, arrest, and all that. They don't teach us how to.
exactly, yeah,
Yeah, that's why the divorces, the domestic violence, and all that stuff, man. I always look at these cops who were like, oh man, like we had this one sergeant. He came back to work after injury early because he was like, oh, I can't stand being at home with my wife.
hmm,
I was like, Jesus Christ.
hmm, hmm,
Like, is your life that bad?
hmm,
If you came to work early from getting injured because you couldn't stand your wife, I'm like, you need help,
yeah,
not just physical help. You need like help.
yeah,
But then you can't tell a cop nothing. You couldn't
yeah,
tell 5 years ago. You couldn't
yeah,
tell me nothing. I knew it
yeah,
all. I'm a badass cop.
right,
What are you gonna tell me?
right,
Who are you? But now I'm out there teaching entrepreneurs and first responders so how to deal with that,
right,
because it's real and
yeah,
it kills you. It affected my life, my relationship. It cost me a lot of things in life, and so but you live and you learn.
yeah. And it's hard when it's part of your job, right? When it's your career, like you have to be, like you're trained to be on all the time, and it can be, like how do you learn how to kind of ride the wave and kind of regulate yourself? when you're in that state. I mean, you're called to be in that state all day long.
You force down regulate yourself.
Yeah.
I noticed that. A lot of times I had to force myself to do that, and then when you get home, you're just like burnt.
Yeah.
You burnt, and it's not healthy.
Mm-hmm.
Like my ways of coping with that was drinking, womanizing.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you know my story,
Yeah.
but that doesn't lead you anywhere.
Yeah.
And then the worst part about that is if you don't learn how to control it, you'll end up hurting people you love and that love you.
Mm-hmm.
Your spouse, your children, your loved ones. You even hurt people on the job. Like I had an incident where I grabbed this one guy by the neck, and I never grab anybody by the neck. And I don't know why. I was like, later we got back in the car. My partner was like, dude, what's wrong with you? Like you don't do that kind of stuff. I'm like, I don't know, man.
Yeah.
But I just like out of anger just grabbed this guy's neck because he was not complying. He was fighting. It's not even a technique that they teach us.
Yeah.
I just grabbed his neck
Yeah. Wow.
to gain control. And I was like, why did I do that? That's not normal. That's not me.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, wasn't having the best day that day.
Yeah.
So your body reacts
Right.
if
Yeah.
you don't control it.
Right. Yeah. I mean, because that's a natural response when you're in survival state, right? When you're in survival, everything looks like a threat and it's extreme. And so that's why if you're not doing anything throughout the day to help keep that capacity where I can handle it, I can tolerate this, even all the bad things that I'm seeing, it's part of my job. But that's why the organization is really important. Your cohort, who you're around with, because you're co-regulating with them. I know when I was working in the hospitals, I was working in the ER at UCSF, and nurses are great at this. There was always food in the lounge, just like talking about what they're experiencing, or there was always some type of co-regulation that was happening because there's so much chaos that comes through the door. But we have to stick together as a staff in order to handle it. And so one thing is that's why when we talk about trauma, it's not just you as an individual, it's the collective. So if we're not talking about I'm feeling this way or this is what I need, it almost you're carrying almost like a shame or some type, you're feeling isolated in your experience, and that's creating even more threat in your nervous system. But when you're sharing things with your colleagues and you're normalizing your experience, like, wow, that was really crazy, this is really hard, this is how I'm feeling, and just by even having a conversation and then doing things together to build that team, it helps you to tolerate the stressful environment better. So you have more capacity. Because it's a job where you do have to be on all the time, but also you don't have to be in that survival state where you have to feel like so extreme up here.
Yeah, we don't have that.
Yeah.
We don't. First responders don't have
Yeah.
that. Cops don't have that.
I know they need more of it. I have worked with first responders, and I know that it's really in the organizations that they're not. Some departments are getting better at it, but most,
some do.
Yeah,
but
most
we
still
do the
need
exact
support.
opposite. We go back to the station, lose my voice, and we shit talk.
Yeah.
Just smack talk.
Yeah.
Like humor is the way of coping with trauma.
Mm-hmm.
And they say, how can you laugh? Like somebody's head is just cut off.
Yeah.
What do you want to do? You want to cry?
Yeah. Yeah.
I have to laugh because I'm trying to downregulate it right here
Right.
because I just saw somebody's head
Yeah.
get cut off or I
Yeah.
saw a dead baby.
Yeah.
So I'm forcing myself.
Yeah.
And then you go back to the station, you can't talk to anybody about that. And if you do talk to people, it's constant like smack talk,
Yeah.
smack talk.
Yeah.
It took me getting out of that environment to understand like, wow, that's pretty damn toxic.
Yeah.
That's pretty damn
Yeah.
toxic.
Yeah.
And it was affecting me. And even my wife told me like, hey, like after you exited, like you changed.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm happy you did. Because her mom was also an ex-cop.
Mm-hmm.
And she grew up around all that.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm glad I changed. And I made a conscious decision to change. And I always tell a lot of first responders, like my friends, like, dude, you don't.
Yeah.
It will consume you.
Yeah.
It's just a job. It's a job.
Yeah.
Don't make it a priority. It'll consume you. It'll eat you. It'll destroy you and spit you out. It's just a business.
Mm-hmm.
police department is a business just like anything else.
Yeah.
And you are a 3, 4, 5-digit serial number.
Yeah.
That's all you are. Nobody gives a shit about you.
Right. Right.
It's just a job.
Yeah. Yeah. Which is unfortunate, you know, and the same thing I've noticed in hospitals. You know, it's like they get because there's just so much, like sometimes, like you said, there's humor, but also, you know, it's not really, as an organization, if they're not really doing anything about it, it becomes a very toxic environment, and you become more disconnected, not only from yourself, but from the people that you're serving. It's showing up in the quality of your work. And that's why, I mean, I left the hospital system because of the environments that it was in. Like, you can't change an entire organization. I was trying to my best, you know, like bringing yoga in the hospital and teaching our residents and our staff, like, we have to learn how to regulate ourselves, make sure we have something, because it's going to show up in the quality of care for our patients. And some people saw the value in that, and they would participate. I did it every Wednesday morning. I called it Wisdom Wednesdays, and it was great, you know, and I'd like to be able to do that, but there's only so much one person can do. It's like, as an organization, if the workplace isn't open to making changes, then you really can't do it. And that's why I had to leave and do my own thing.
Wow. I don't know what to tell you about this whole environment. Nowadays, I think the society itself creates certain stigma and puts people under pressure of having to perform.
Mm-hmm.
And we forgot how to take a break.
Yeah.
Especially in the world of business and entrepreneurship.
Yeah. Yeah. The hustle culture.
The hustle culture.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's not, because I'm realizing it's not going to happen overnight anyways.
Right.
And it's not so much the end, it's the journey.
Mm-hmm.
It's the journey you got to enjoy.
Right.
That's when you learn. That's when you grow. Because I'm bad at sometimes giving myself credit of how far I've gone and the things I've accomplished.
Mm-hmm.
My wife reminds me of that.
Mm-hmm.
So she slows me down. And when I do slow down, I'm like, I've gone far.
Yeah.
I've done things.
Yeah.
I got, just this week alone, I got a full-page publication about me. I'm featured in the Orange County Business Journal, which is like Bloomberg of Southern California.
Okay. Yeah.
Very, and then like along the names of my clients that I serve, like big corporations. So to me, it's a big deal.
Yeah.
And it hit me like afterwards, like, holy snap.
Mm-hmm.
I have a full page
Mm-hmm.
with my picture on, dedicated to my story.
Yeah.
An OCBJ.
Mm-hmm.
Now that's a big deal. Like
Mm-hmm.
a kid. And it's funny because the story I write is about a kid who came from like a third world country.
Mm-hmm.
And I talk about a story where I lost a $100,000 deal because I thought I wasn't worth it.
Right.
So like I talk about that, but then it didn't hit me until now that I've gotten this far.
Yeah.
You know, but it helps, and I say it in a humble way.
Yeah.
Because if you don't appreciate where you are, what you accomplished, you
Yeah.
just don't notice it, and you have to pause sometimes and look at how far you've gone.
Yeah.
Because if you don't, it's like, well, what the hell are you doing?
Yeah.
Because my goals are always changing.
Right.
I'm living the life now that I dreamed about years ago.
Right. Yeah.
But I don't understand it always sometimes until I slow down.
Yeah.
And people like me and you, we're constantly, okay,
Looking
next
at the
goal,
next
next goal,
thing.
next
Yeah.
goal, next goal,
Yeah.
next goal.
Yeah.
We're constantly evolving
I know.
to
Right.
that next person.
Yeah.
Like Matthew McConaughey say, like the person that I want to be like is the next best version of me.
Right.
But we need to slow down. We
Yeah.
need to give
Slow
ourselves
down,
credit.
take it in, and really feel it. Right. Like the presence with it, and the gratitude that you experience from that too. And it's great. You know, you have faith too. You have that, so it helps you to hopefully, when you're praying, when you're slowing down, when you're connecting with God, it reminds you like, wow, look at, you know, everything that I've built over time, and just taking in, you know, take that feeling, because then it helps you to carry that forward, and having that more of that abundance mindset too, right? Otherwise, it's almost
Crucial.
like scarcity. When you're always worried about the next thing, you're still stepping into that old pattern of that scarcity mindset, that this could all be gone, there's not enough, or whatever it is that we're telling ourselves.
That's such a bad thing, though. Like I stopped doing that.
Yeah.
Like universe is abundant.
Yeah.
God would always give
Yeah.
to those who have faith. Not to say that there's no poor people out there,
Of course.
but the universe is abundant.
Mm-hmm.
Like just having that, if you have that mindset of scarcity, it's just you're doing yourself a dishonor.
Yeah.
So it's just, you gotta think positive, because
Yeah.
what you think, you bring about you.
Yeah.
We do manifest our realities.
Yes.
Like right now, I'm
Yeah.
reading The Power of Your Subconscious Mind by
Mm-hmm.
Joseph Murphy.
Okay.
I like that book a lot. It talks
Uh-huh.
about the subconscious mind and
Yeah.
how we unintentionally throw these ideas down into our subconscious mind, which then makes your conscious mind make that come a reality.
Mm-hmm.
So now I'm like, hell no.
Yeah.
Like my identity is this.
Right.
Like take it. Like
Yeah.
I imprinted in my subconscious mind. This is who I am. This is
Yeah.
what I can do. This is what I do.
Yeah.
Because I want the universe around me to make that come to fruition.
Right.
And it's powerful.
Yeah.
'Cause I've seen that happen. Like
Yeah.
my partner, he's great at that.
Yeah.
To the point where I tell him, dude, if you ever talk negative or you say something negative about the future, I'll like smack you, because everything comes out of your mouth becomes reality.
Yeah.
Really.
Mm-hmm.
He like manifests stuff all the
Wow,
time. I'm like,
yeah.
stop talking about bad things. You're
Yeah.
gonna freaking manifest
Yeah,
it. I'll
yeah.
be pissed at you.
Yeah.
I'm like, I force him to talk positively,
Yeah.
and then things turn around.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you got to meet him. He's like he says something and
awesome.
it comes to reality.
Yeah.
But he's big on like manifestation and
Yeah.
tuning with universe. So he's a character on his own.
Yeah, and there's actually, science to support that too, because there's, what we call attentional bias. Because when you're focusing on what you have and you have gratitude and feeling in abundance, I'm safe, I'm okay, your brain will naturally look for cues to reinforce that belief that you're already holding on to. But if you're living in a scarcity mindset, you're always looking at what's going wrong, you're paying attention to those things, naturally your brain will get better at looking for cues of threat. So it'll always look like, you're going to naturally do more behaviors or engage in certain situations based on what you already believe, what you're holding on to. So if you have, again, that attention towards gratitude and we have enough, things are going to manifest, things are going to be okay, your brain will always look for cues. And like you're going to pay attention to certain conversations, or something's going to spark an idea because your brain's already scanning to reinforce those beliefs that I have enough, I will have enough, I will grow, I will meet my goals naturally, because your behaviors will exemplify that too.
It's like if I tell you, hey, Minnie, what are all the red colors in this studio?
Yeah.
You'll notice all the red
Right.
colors, but you won't notice the green in the process.
Yeah.
If I tell you what are the green colors, you look for that, and your brain will look for that, but you'll miss all the red and stuff.
Yeah.
That's the same thing.
It does a mental filtering, exactly. Yeah.
It's true.
Yeah.
That's why identity. That's why I can relate to the work you do.
Mm-hmm.
And my life began changing when I started changing my own identity.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's a big thing.
Right. Your circumstances didn't change. Your identity changed first, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. How did you start shifting your identity? What was, how did you make that? Was it like a switch, would you say? Or was it like one small thing at a time?
The story where I almost lost a $100,000 deal was one of the biggest impacts on my life, because I was like, I'm never gonna diminish my own identity.
Mm-hmm.
And then as I start growing in business, start getting wiser, start receiving more discernment, I guess, and wisdom from the Bible, and start being around mentors, people like Bedros or Kevin, my best friend, my partner. That's what I started noticing them doing.
Yeah.
They are the identity.
Yeah.
They embrace that. They live that. They represent that. And things work out for them. So me being a student of life, I was like, okay, well, why don't I do that? And I started doing that.
Yeah.
When I started doing that, things began changing. So I was like, okay, I'm just going to do that going forward. Like, I don't want to lose a $100,000 deal again.
Right.
I don't want to think that if I step in on stage or if I'm coaching a group of guys that I'm not it. Like in order for me to confidently go on stage and speak about what I speak, I have to be it.
Right.
I have to embrace it.
Yeah.
In order for me to sit there on a group Zoom call with my coaching clients and talk about healing as a man, talk about creating purpose, talk about self-development, I have to be it. Like, so you have to embrace it. And even if you're not it yet,
Yeah.
be it emotionally, spiritually, and because you will come to it. It's almost like accept that that's what you are,
Yeah. Yeah.
and you will become.
Yeah.
Just like what I said earlier, as the man thinketh, so shall he will become. Right? I don't know
Absolutely.
if it's in the Bible or not, but that's true.
Yeah.
You have to flow into your identity, and again, it brings us back to what you said.
Yeah.
It's subconscious mind. It's
Right.
creating it around you.
Yeah.
Because people sense energy and the authenticity. If somebody's
Sure.
like, I don't know. If people are like, well, then
Yeah.
you're just full of shit.
Yeah.
And as on police work, that was the thing. Like, if you
Yeah.
don't know, act like you know,
Yeah.
and you'll figure it out.
Yeah.
Act like you know.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, and I did that. It was nothing different.
Yeah.
I just got to take that same concept going into business, public
Yeah.
speaking, and mentorship and coaching. Like, okay, I don't know everything, but
You'll figure it out.
I'll figure it
right?
out.
Yeah.
And I'm
that's
confident I'm
okay.
going to figure it
Yeah.
out.
Yeah.
Nothing
Yeah.
has changed.
Yeah.
What's different about police work and business? Okay, maybe you're not going to get ambushed and shot, depending on how much money you make.
Yeah.
But the thing is the same. Like,
Yeah.
I am it. And if I don't know, I'll figure it out.
Right.
Because I'm a problem solver.
Right.
And business is all about problem
Exactly.
solving.
Yeah, yeah. I love that. You know, it's so true. You do have to change your identity first, you know, because your circumstances naturally will start changing when you shift your identity with the way you see yourself. Because then you ask yourself, how would that version of me that I'm becoming, how would they respond to the situation? What would they say? What would they ask? People don't expect you to have all the answers all the time, but you know how to get the answer, right? You know who to talk to, you know where to go. And that's and confidence comes from integrity. Like you said, you know, like the life that you're building behind closed doors, the work that you're doing silently, privately, that's where your true confidence comes from. Confidence isn't, you know, like this showcase, you know, like what people may think what confidence looks like. But true confidence comes, I believe, you know, from what I've learned is because only you know at the end of the day how you lived your life and what you're doing and the work that you've put in, the time that you've put in, whether it's a presentation or, you know, whatever it is that you're building, you know that. So that even if things fail, you trust that things will be okay. I know I can learn from this mistake or from this failure. It's not an actual failure. I know I'm not going to quit because I have integrity. I know that I'm capable of building something. You know, I'm capable of this. I know this about myself because you've put in the work, and no one can take that away ever. Integrity. Like that's my definition of confidence is integrity.
Sometimes you win, sometimes you learn.
Yeah.
You only fail if you accept it as a failure.
Yeah.
That's another one of my mottos, you know. You only fail if you accept it as a failure.
Yeah. Yeah. If you quit.
If you quit.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah, as long as you don't quit. You'll eventually succeed as long as you don't quit.
Sure. Yeah.
Somehow, some way, I'm a big believer in that.
Yeah, I believe that too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You just got to keep going.
Stay consistent. Yeah.
And consistency is key.
Yeah.
Discipline is key. Integrity is key. Yeah, you earn your right to be confident. You earn your right to. You wear your scars.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that's what gives you credibility.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Because that's where, like, you know, you learn from those, like, pain points, your adversities. Like I said, I wouldn't be here today had I not gone through what I did, you know, in my life. And it's like it makes you stronger. It makes you better. And as long as you're growing from it, you know, there's an area, you may be familiar with post-traumatic growth.
Yeah.
Yeah, right? Like you grow from your adversities. It's really the meaning that you're making out of your story because trauma is subjective. Two people can go through the same exact experience and one person cannot walk out with PTSD and other person might be fine. And we used to study this at Stanford. I was working on a study with PTSD veterans and we'd have our healthy control. And so these are people who went to combat but did not come back with PTSD. And what we found was that people who were the healthy controls, who didn't experience PTSD, they had more support, more family support, more friends. They were able to regulate with other human beings and have social connections compared to others who were isolating and using, you know, other like substances or whatever
Yeah.
to cope with whatever they were experiencing. So, when you're doing the work, when you're co-regulating and you're taking time to rest and to take care of your body, that gives you more capacity to tolerate, right? The uncertainties that are inevitable. And so you grow from your traumas, you make meaning from it, and you say, okay, I can still handle this. It's okay. It's not going to take over.
Yeah.
Right.
I can definitely do some more of resting and taking care of my mental state. All of us can,
Yeah.
especially entrepreneurs.
Yeah.
All of us can.
So one thing I had to learn was how to not feel guilty resting. I used to feel so guilty resting. Like I should be reading something, I should be writing something. Even when I was sleeping, I'm like dreaming about work or my papers or 'cause it's
You
like
and me
that's what we
both.
were taught what we're supposed to do. When I started grad school, I was like, well,
Yeah.
isn't that normal? Like you're supposed to be working on papers and writing until like 3 in the morning and then, but I had to learn like that's, that it's I don't feel guilty for resting anymore, but I had to
Yeah.
train myself to do that.
I would like to pick your brain more about that
Yeah. Yeah.
offline. Definitely. There's one question that I always like to ask all my guests at the end of my podcast. And the question is, well, it's a two-part question. I always ask, what do you think is the purpose of life? And for people out there who can't seem to figure out their purpose or find their purpose, what do you think they can do in order to find their purpose in life?
Yeah. Those are great questions. I think our purpose in life is honestly just to be happy and to take care of each other and this earth. That's it. Keep it simple. That if we're living in good relation with ourselves and with humanity, that's it. We're here just to be happy and to live and to enjoy this beautiful earth and to take care of it and to take care of each other. We all have a responsibility. It's not just about like pleasure all the time, right? It's about learning to give back, learning to take care, to have, personal accountability for what's happening, that we all have a role in it as a society, as a collective. And that's where I feel like is actually, that's my purpose. And I believe like that's all of our purposes, but everybody's going to have their own view on that.
Yeah.
But, and then the second part, how do you find your purpose?
Yeah.
I would say, so this is it's a great question because a lot of people feel lost in their purpose, especially right now.
Yep.
With everything going on in the world and
Yep.
feeling unsure. I would say start with your values. What's important to you? What's most important to you in your life? Because your values become a compass for how you're living. So if you value family, that means your behavior should align with that. You should be spending time with your family. If you value health, making sure that you're taking care of your health and your body, your nutrition, whatever it is. Because over time, when you're living in alignment with your values, you feel so clear about who you are and what's important to you that you naturally start gravitating towards circumstances that are aligned with your values, and that's where you find your purpose. Because your purpose comes from living in alignment with who you authentically are. And so when you're living in alignment with your values, you're going to be your most authentic self, because you're going to be your true self, which means you'll be your best self, and naturally you'll find your purpose in that way.
Well, I've had a lot of answers, but not this one before. I like that.
Yeah.
That's actually pretty doable. So
Yeah.
you gotta do is figure out your values.
Yeah, values are like a compass, right?
Yeah.
Like every day you're walking around like, does this align with my values? Okay, no, I don't think this is it. So I'm going to have a boundary around that. I'm going to, check that. I actually, I'm sharing a gift with your audience today. It's called Reset. And it's auditing your time, your relationships, your energy. When we're doing an audit of our life, it's easier to see, is this person, is this situation, is how I'm living my life in alignment with my values? And if it's not, you may have to audit it. And we have to do it every now and then. Even when we're feeling like we're living a good life, it's important to go back and kind of do an audit. Like I do a friend audit, like, is this person still aligned with who I'm? Because I'm not even who I was last year. I'm like evolving all the time. I'm trying to get better. And so if people are not growing with me, that's okay. Everybody's on their own path. But it's going to take you away from your purpose if you're still living in old habits and, around old situations and circumstances. So it is constant. It's not like, oh, now I found my purpose and check, that's it. You have to consistently maintain it so that you still continue to walk that path every single day. Because there's so much distraction, so many things happening, so much stimulation that's going to try to stray you away from your purpose. But the more you're maintaining and doing that internal work, that inner work, that it's going to help keep you aligned with your purpose.
I like that.
Yeah.
I haven't done an audit in a long time, but
I sent it to you so you can put it in the show notes for your guests.
Yeah,
you can
just
download
on a
it for
second
free.
Email.
Yeah.
I also like, because my platform is all about serving people, and I also always want to give my speakers a moment to talk about, the work you do, what you talked about before, how to find you, website, Instagram, where to find you, how to contact you. For this is your moment to shine, and I'll have all of that in the description. But
Sure.
Where can my viewers find you, talk to you, pick your brain, communicate with you, learn from you, get coached by you?
Absolutely, yeah. I'd love to engage. I'm on social media. I'm on Instagram. My handle's Dr. Minikor, dr.mini_KAUR. I have a website, drmini.co, drmini.co, and I have a bunch of free downloadable resources for you to check out. I'm doing a lot of speaking events and speaking engagements. So I'm out in the community doing a lot of workshops here in San Diego, Miami, Vegas. I just did an international global retreat in South Africa, which was awesome. I'm going to do more global retreats in the coming year. But yeah, you can connect with me online. And I right now, my main thing that I'm doing is executive wellness coaching. So people who are founders, executives, high performers, I love to work with ambitious people because I don't believe you need to give up your ambition and your drive in order to succeed in a healthy way. You don't have to abandon yourself in order to be ambitious, is what I mean. You don't have to struggle to make it to your goals. You can do it in a way that's sustainable and healthy and serves you and serves other people in the way that we're all meant to be. I love working with motivated people who are ambitious and driven. So, I want us to scale and I want us to work and I want us to build, and that you do it in a way that's sustainable and do it in a way that's keeping your mind and body healthy.
Yeah, we're definitely going to talk offline.
Yeah.
Because the thing about ambitious people is that sometimes we allow the ambition, we achieve our goals at the cost of our own health and sanity.
Yeah, because that's what you were
that's
taught.
Across the border for people like ourselves too. I know you're an ambitious person. If you don't control ambition, it can be your downfall.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you have too many things you're doing and they're not aligned with, again, your values, then for sure.
Or if you're like a lazy ambitious person, that's one of the worst people out there too.
What is that? Like a lazy ambitious?
Dude, stay away from lazy ambitious people.
Yeah.
They're the worst. Lazy ambitious person is the one that wants to achieve everything.
Oh, okay, like fast hacks.
No, they just want to achieve stuff. They have these goals and aspirations, but they're not doing anything towards it. And all they do is look at you and they're envious.
Oh,
and so those are if you're lazy and you're okay, fine.
Yeah.
But if you're that person, lazy, ambitious, oh man, those are some of the worst, vicious, backstabbing people out there, because they will jeopardize you and they will just do everything just to climb over you.
Yeah.
It's a lot of people like that are also out there in the world and also in a corporate ladder as well. And
Yeah.
but
Like,
that's a whole different
yeah.
conversation. Yeah. Stay away from those people.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
Opportunists and
Opportunists.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's why I
could-
don't believe in hacks. You know, even the word biohacking, I don't believe in that. You know, there's no hack to life. It's really keep it simple, do it repeatedly, and you'll be able to achieve great things.
I would say there's a hack to life. It's called wisdom,
Okay. Yeah.
but it's very expensive. It comes at a cost of life.
Yes, it does.
Yeah, you become wise as you learn and
Yeah.
you get all the experiences,
Yeah.
but the cost of that is your life.
Yeah. 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 It comes
So,
with pain. Right?
Yeah, by the time you
Wisdom.
become really wise, you
Yeah.
spend like so many decades of your life already gone.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
It's
well,
great.
Dr. Minnie, thank you
Of
for
course.
coming. I really enjoyed our conversation.
Yeah.
I would love to have you back at some point
Absolutely. I
as
would
we
love
both
that.
evolve.
Yes.
Definitely want to learn more about that, and I find your story very interesting.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah, I really truly think what you've gone through was meant for you to happen,
Yeah.
because you've gone through a lot, and it shows the strength of you as a person.
Mm.
And I could tell that you were a certain way. You were this quiet, people pleasing person, but you've evolved and there's into this outspoken, independent person, still with good values and morals.
Yeah.
When you have strong moral compass and you're out there to help people, so
Yeah.
yeah,
Thank you.
of course. Thank you again. If you guys enjoyed this conversation, this podcast, please make sure to click like, subscribe, and follow Dr. Minnie on her on her socials, on her website. And for all of you, my ambitious entrepreneurs, right? You learned today, don't sacrifice that at the cost of your life and your sanity. Maybe check out some of her free resources and contact her, and she'll give you guys some wisdom.
Yep.
All right. Thank you, Dr. Minnie.
Thank you
again.
so much.